Have you noticed there's a new word floating around, decolonize? It's one of those words you're just supposed to agree with. You're meant to nod, politely, and never ask what it actually means. Well, it's time we stop nodding and start watching what's being done in its name.
And right away, you hit the core contradiction. It's this. The people who talk the loudest about decolonization, they have a funny habit. They colonize everything they touch. They are absolute masters of the very thing they claim to hate.
So let's be really clear about what words mean, okay? When you or I hear the word colonization, we think of something very specific, right? Conquest, occupation, one group replacing another group's culture, their habits, rewriting their history, their memory. That's what the word means to most people. But that is not what its new priests mean. Not at all. See, the word's been captured. So when they say decolonize, you're supposed to hear liberation. But what they mean is demolition. What they mean is empty this thing of its meaning so we can pour our own meaning into it. And don't be fooled. This isn't about having a good faith discussion. It's not about making room for new voices. No, this is not participation. It is a hostile takeover. And it follows the exact same predictable pattern every single time.
You can watch for it. It always starts with something that sounds reasonable. We just want a seat at the table. But then comes the accusation. This place has harmful assumptions. And right after that, the moral threat. Your silence is violence. And that, of course, justifies their demand for control. We need moderation. And the final step? You're banned. You're kicked out for breaking rules that didn't even exist until they showed up. And once they have control, the reprogramming starts. See, they don't enter a place to coexist. They enter it to overwrite. Suddenly, churches aren't churches anymore. They have to be rethought. Schools don't just teach, they have to reframe how you think. Our stories, our heroes, even our language, it all has to be corrected to fit the new rule. The result of all this reprogramming? It's a total moral inversion. Everything gets flipped on its head. The author who wrote the book? He's wrong now. The audience who enjoys his work? You're guilty. The past that created them both? That's evil. Every line of authority is just erased and then redrawn by them. Now, here's the tell. This is the key to the whole strategy, so listen closely. Pay attention to the accusations they use as weapons. It's always the same three: colonization, domination, and erasure. And why those words? Why always those three? Because it's a confession. They're projecting. While they're pointing the finger and accusing you of these things, they are the ones who are actively colonizing everything in sight. They are colonizing entertainment, they are colonizing education, our institutions, they are colonizing your conscience. This isn't just hypocrisy, it's the strategy. You accuse others of what you yourself are doing. So it all leads to a really obvious question, doesn't it? Why? Why this relentless, consuming need to control every corner of life? Why can't they just leave anything alone? Well, here's the plain truth. Their entire worldview, it's fragile. It's built on a lie. And lies, well, they can't survive competition. They can't survive being questioned. This belief system can only exist if it has total, suffocating control. And that is why any uncolonized place is so dangerous to them. A church that still preaches an old truth, a family that tells its own stories, even a bookshelf with old books on it. These are all threats. You know why? Because these places preserve memory, and memory holds the record of the very truth they are trying to erase. This pattern isn't new, not at all. Scripture diagnosed this exact thing 2,000 years ago. The Apostle Paul wrote it down plainly. He said, they exchanged the truth of God for a lie. And once you abandon truth, power is the only thing left. So this colonization, it stops being just strategy. It becomes a matter of survival for them. So when you look out at the world today, don't mistake what you're seeing for progress. You're not. You are watching the Tower of Babel being rebuilt right now in our time. One approved story, one approved more language, one acceptable way to think. And anyone who refuses to pick up a brick and build with them is immediately labeled a threat. So it's time to stop using their words. Let's just say what's actually happening. They don't decolonize. They overwrite. They don't liberate cultures. They replace them. They don't want diversity. They demand uniformity. What they're doing isn't justice. It's just colonialism with a smile.